Next on Worcester News tonight, new technology at WPI for Wildfire Research. A live demonstration shows how destructive the fires can be. Plus, the latest round of MCAT scores are out with some positive results for city schools. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Olivia Lemon. New technology at WPI will allow students to better understand wildfires. Researchers now have a 60-foot wind tunnel capable of recreating deadly and destructive fires in a more realistic manner. The hope is these experiments will create more information for fire departments and communities impacted by fire. Our Cam Drandro saw a live demonstration today. He joins us now with more. Cam?
Olivia, the Fire Protection Engineering program at WPI has been working on this tunnel for about 3 years now. Today, they allowed us into their labs and showed us firsthand how a wildfire can actually start.
All right, ignition.
A bed of dry pine needles can quickly become fuel for a brush fire. A new wind tunnel at Worcester Polytechnic Institute simulates wildfires to better allow students to study them.
What we are trying is to develop the knowledge that will help us in the future to really have better tools for the firefighters, for the managers, for the people who are dealing with this problem on a day-to-day basis.
A fire is started in the tunnel. A fan then acts like the wind and shows researchers just how fast fire can spread in a wooded area.
Today it's a drier day, outside and inside, so that helped. The needles basically have less moisture and they spread a lot quicker.
Thursday's experiment saw a 20-foot-long section of needles burn in less than 5 minutes. The data is sent to a computer where PhD students like Giovanni Di Cristina can analyze it.
But if we're seeing similar trends throughout all those steps, then we can safely say we're collecting real physical phenomena and then feed that data back into the modeling efforts to predict wildfire spread.
Di Cristina says the tunnel is not limited to just wildfires. Experiments can also be done to help local fire departments.
It's kind of a blank slate, so we could even set up models in here of more urban fires, set up some building facades or some fences.
Leading professor Albert Simeoni was a firefighter in France for 10 years. He worked in an area which saw wildfires on a regular basis. It sparked his interest in studying fires.
And I remember seeing over 50 fires burning in the mountains and thinking, we have to do something about this problem.
Now, Simeoni says this tunnel can be sent out into the field and can be used for more accurate information. So they'll be able to burn things like bushes and trees, and then they'll be sharing all of this information with the United States Forest Service. Olivia?
All right, very interesting. Thank you, Cam. A Worcester woman is shot in the lower body Wednesday night. Police say they responded to Country Club Boulevard for a medical call, and when they arrived, they were told the 41-year-old female victim had been shot. Officers were told conflicting stories and unable to determine what happened. The victim's injuries are non-life-threatening. Anyone with information is asked to call Worcester Police. Covered in paintings depicting immigrant deportation issues, the TPS Journey for Justice bus makes its way across the country. Thursday, the bus stopped at the YWCA in Worcester for a meeting with the Massachusetts Temporary Protected Status, or TPS Committee. TPS was established by Congress in the Immigration Act of 1990 and mandates the U.S. should suspend deportations to countries destabilized by war, civil conflict, or natural catastrophes. According to the Massachusetts committee, if the Trump administration ends the program, more than 400,000 people would face possible deportation.
It's actually riding with 25 TPS recipients from many different places of the country. So these people are sharing their stories, sharing the reasons why they want the community support and why they want to stay in this country, because they believe that it's fair after being here for 15 to 20 years.
And Worcester is one of the 50 cities the bus is visiting in a 12-week span. It started its journey in Los Angeles and will end in Washington, D.C. A former nursing home is now renovated to be a place where people with drug and alcohol addiction can seek treatment. The facility is run by Sunrise Detox. According to the Worcester Business Journal, it will have the ability to treat up to 39 people with single and double occupancy rooms. Sunrise Detox will hold an open house from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on October 9th. A new round of MCAS scores are out, and according to the state's new accountability system, Worcester is showing improvement. The move to a computer-based test is getting high scores from some educators. Our Chandler Walsh explains.
Schools across the state are starting to review their latest round of MCAS scores. The results were released Thursday, some reflecting a newer computer-based test.
The sense we have is that it is more of a challenging assessment. It does do more measuring of critical thinking skills, and that's good for us because that's something we're really emphasizing in terms of our own strategic goals.
Shrewsbury was one of the highest scoring school districts in central Massachusetts. Superintendent Joe Sawyer says their scores are consistent with past years, but the exam is not the only measurement of how schools are doing.
This is one snapshot in time of kids' performance, and it's important for us to make sure that we're looking at lots of different measures of students' performance across lots of domains.
In Worcester, Superintendent Maureen Benenda is proud of her district's results. Elm Park Community School raised their performance and is no longer considered underperforming.
We really attribute that to the new team and the work that they really did, very focused work with the teachers and the students.
Benenda says she's going to focus on the middle schools this year. 3 out of the city's 4 ranked in the lowest 5% of schools in the state.
Developing a plan and monitoring what the middle schools really are doing so that we can provide the resources that we need to help them be successful.
The state is also rolling out a new accountability system which lists districts as requiring or not requiring intervention. Benenda says the system takes more factors into account.
And they're all good indicators. We want students to come to school every day, become proficient in learning English, graduate on time.
Chandler Walsh, Worcester News Tonight.
Ensuring every child has what they need to thrive. It's the goal of the Worcester Early Childhood Alliance. Thursday, the group hosting a seminar at Holy Cross featuring guest speaker Dr. Jane Singer. The clinical psychologist says the first 3 years of child's lives are a unique time of brain development, and early education and care programs at such a young age are critical.
What we want to do is really start at the earliest stages possible to support that child's brain health, and that is best done by supporting relationships and relational care of children, because we know that those experiences in early childhood actually help to optimize their brain in ways that will last them the rest of their lives.
And the Alliance is hoping to start a community-wide commitment to the well-being of young children. 16 Worcester restaurants taking part in the March of Dimes Signature Chefs Auction tonight at Mechanics Hall. The event raises money for research, programs, and education about the health of mothers and babies. Money raised during the night's auction supports March of Dimes. The group's goal is to prevent birth defects, premature birth, and infant mortality. They say in the United States, 1 in 10 babies is born prematurely every year. Switching gears now, a state park in Worcester is receiving much-needed improvements. The commissioner of the Department of Conservation and Recreation says Lake Park is one of the most used parks in the DCR system and was in need of an upgrade. The improvements are part of a $1.2 million project, which includes a new artificial turf field and improvements to the track. Leo Roy says the important thing about DCR is encouraging outdoor recreation.
Getting kids outside into fresh air and being physically active.
And construction is set to begin in the spring and be finished in the fall. Almost 3 years after a devastating fire forced Sweetpea for Animals Rescue Shelter in Paxton to close, the founders have not given up hope and are working hard to try and reopen. Our Roslyn Flaherty has more.
Dick and Mary Clark are looking to the future. The founders of Sweetpea for Animals Rescue Shelter in Paxton have had a difficult few years. A devastating fire killed more than 40 of their animals and destroyed their shelter in 2015.
Just to come here and see the building totally gone and know that all of the animals had gone with it was heartbreaking.
The nonprofit No Kill Shelter opened in 2001. Dick, a former animal control officer, decided to open a rescue center after finding a dog named Sweetpea. This place means a lot to him.
I want to see this come back, and I want to see it be what it's supposed to be.
The Clarks say the fire caused about $200,000 worth of damage. They say the community stepped up with donations in the beginning, but now the money has slowed down. The couple tried to rebuild immediately, but it's been costly and filled with hurdles, including getting town permits.
To rebuild today, it's much more expensive to replace that building.
The foundation is in the ground, and the plan is to have up to 35 dogs, have rooms for cats, and have better fire protection equipment. They might have to stop construction if they can't come up with the funds. The Clarks say they just want to get back to doing what they love, rescuing animals.
I'm getting up to the area in age where I need one thing to satisfy me. I guess this would be it.
Rosalind Flaherty, Worcester News Tonight.